There's a chance that I might be a little bit nerdy. When most people wonder about something like the ideal YouTube video title length, they typically go search on Reddit or look for a blog post or find a video about the subject and learn what they can that way, and that's usually good enough. But that's not good enough for me, so I wrote software to analyze 42,000 videos across more than 500 channels to see what I could learn about YouTube video title length. And the results were interesting. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the technical details of how I did this, but the gist of it is that I'm subscribed to about 500 channels about filmmaking and videography and photography and cinematography and all that stuff. And I was curious, so I wrote a script that connects to YouTube and pulls the data for all of those channels in my niche. I then took all that data, put it into a giant database, and then wrote some additional software so I could analyze it. Now keep in mind, everything I'm about to say is specific to that niche, so it may or may not directly apply to yours, but the general principles are probably valid across a lot of YouTube. Now, one of the first questions I had was whether YouTube video title length actually affects the number of views that a video gets, and if so, what's the ideal length for a video title? And it turns out that it does affect how many views you get, and I'm going to show you exactly how. Now, there are a lot of theories out there about how video title length affects the performance of your YouTube videos. Some people say short and catchy is better, other people say you want it long so you can put in lots of keywords. But there aren't a lot of people out there who've actually done the math, and we're going to do the math. Now, every YouTube video can have between 1 and 100 characters. And notice I said characters instead of letters. It's important that we make that distinction. A character is basically anything that you can type, but that includes spaces and punctuation and all of that. So you have to count those in the number. For example, the video title How to Hack a Gibson has 16 letters, but 20 characters. So I went through and grouped the 42,000 videos in my database according to the length of their titles, and here's what I learned. In the bottom here, I've grouped the video title length by tens just to keep it simple. And this graph shows the number of video titles that fall into each range. This basically means that the most popular YouTube video title length is about 40 to 50 characters, or about 7 to 9 words. Here are some real examples of video titles in that range so you can get an idea of what this looks like. The numbers drop off on both sides of that favorite number, but especially steeply on the shorter lengths. Only a few videos have titles in the 1 to 20 character range, and on the other side there are a few with more than 80 characters. So you would probably expect that this graph correlates with the title lengths that will make your video most successful on YouTube, right? Well, it's not that simple. To see what the data really showed, I calculated the average number of views for each video in these ranges of title lengths. And here's what I came up with. So now we're not counting how many videos have a title that long, but rather how many views a video has on average depending on its video title length. It's fascinating how different this looks than the previous graph. Basically what we're seeing here is that the longer your YouTube video title length, the more views your video will get, but only up to about 30 characters. After that, it really doesn't matter how many keywords you cram in there because it's probably not really going to affect how many views you receive. So what do we learn from all this? To optimize your YouTube video title length, make sure it's at least about 30 characters long, but don't worry too much about how long you make it after that because it won't really make any difference. I'm James Archer and I make videos about making videos. If you make videos, or you want to make videos, or you're thinking about wanting to make videos, you should subscribe the heck out of this channel.